I always thought heartbreak arrived like a hurricane, loud, destructive, impossible to ignore. But the truth is, sometimes it comes like a whisper, soft, quiet, sneaking into the cracks of your life until the day you realize the person you love feels further away than the moon. That's what happened to me. That's what happened to us. My name's Ethan, born and raised in Boise, Idaho, now living in Nashville, Tennessee. And the night everything fell apart, man, it still sits heavy in my chest like wet cement. If you're listening right now, let me take you through it, the whole damn thing, no filter. Before we continue, drop your city and time in the comments. And thanks for listening to my story. Now back to the story. The sky that night looked bruised. Clouds low and angry. Wind slicing through the streets like it had a personal vendetta. It wasn't raining yet, but you could feel it in the air, that heavy pre-storm stillness that always freaked me out. Inside our apartment, it was even colder. Not temperature-wise, but the kind of cold that comes when two people who used to talk about everything can't even decide on dinner without tension. Yeah, that cold. Me and Emily used to be magic. We used to be the kind of couple strangers stared at because we looked like a movie scene. She had this smile, man. That smile could have turned a shitty day into something bearable. She laughed with her whole soul like she meant every breath. And somehow, somewhere, we lost that. Maybe it started small, it usually does. Missed hugs, shorter conversations, work stress, late nights, unasked questions piling up like unpaid bills. I didn't realize when her good night kisses became quick pecks instead of lingering moments. Didn't notice when she stopped holding my hand on the couch, or when the "how was your day" turned into hum, S and half smiles. But that's the thing about fading. You don't see it happening until you're standing in the dark wondering where the light went. That night, she was sitting on the couch with a blanket around her shoulders, staring at the TV like she wasn't actually watching. I was half in the kitchen, half in my thoughts, stressing about bills, work, and every stupid thing I didn't want to say out loud. "Did you want pizza or chicken tonight?" she asked without looking at me. A normal question, a simple question. But for some reason, it felt like a test, like everything we weren't talking about was packed into that one sentence. "I don't care," I said, too fast, too flat. Her shoulders stiffened. She turned her head just slightly, eyes tired. "You never care anymore," she whispered. And just like that, the storm cracked open. "What's that supposed to mean?" I snapped. Not because I was angry, but because I was scared. Scared she was right. Scared she saw through me. She took a deep breath. "You're not here anymore, Ethan. Even when you're sitting right next to me, you're somewhere else." I didn't know what to say. Didn't know how to explain that my silence wasn't distance, it was exhaustion. It was fear. But instead of telling her that, I shut down. That's what I do. That's what I've always done. "Maybe I'm tired," I muttered. "Maybe you're reading too much into things." Her eyes watered, just a little, just enough to kill me slowly. "Do you ever fight for us anymore?" she asked. That question, man, it sliced right through me, because the answer terrified me. I stayed quiet, silence the worst answer. She let out a shaky breath and whispered, "Right, that's what I thought." She wasn't angry, she wasn't yelling, she wasn't even asking for anything big. She just wanted to know if the person she loved was still in love with her. And I couldn't give her a simple yes. Maybe it was pride. Maybe it was fear. Maybe it was the stupid belief that leaving before you're left hurts less. But I stood up, walked to the door, grabbed my jacket. "Maybe we're just not good for each other anymore," I said. Her face, God, her face looked like someone had pulled the ground out from under her. Eyes wide, mouth slightly open, like she couldn't believe I was actually saying the words she dreaded hearing. "Ethan," she whispered, but I didn't stay to hear the rest. I opened the door, stepped out, and walked away from the best thing that ever happened to me. The hallway felt endless, every step echoed, my heartbeat loud in my ears. When I reached the parking lot, the first raindrop hit my cheek, then another, then 1,000 more. Like the sky was crying for me because I was too damn stubborn to cry for myself. I got to my truck, put my hand on the door handle, told myself this was the right decision, told myself leaving would hurt less than staying, told myself she deserved better. And then, through the rain, through the thunder, through the chaos in my head, I heard her. "Ethan, wait," soft, fragile, broken in the way only someone who loves you can break. I didn't turn around right away. I couldn't, my throat was tight, my chest was burning. But then her hand touched my arm, small, warm, shaking. And that was it. That simple touch destroyed every wall I tried to build around myself. She whispered again, voice trembling, "Don't go, please, don't go." I finally turned, rain in her hair, mascara smudged, face red from crying. She looked like someone who had just run through hell to reach me. And she grabbed my hand, not gently, not desperately, but like someone holding on to the last thread of hope. "Please," she whispered, "don't leave me like this." That's when my chest cracked open. Because she wasn't begging me to stay in the relationship, she was begging me to stay in her world, to stay in that moment, to stay with her long enough to try. I swallowed the lump in my throat. I murmured. "I don't know how to fix us." She shook her head. "You don't have to fix everything, I just need you to stay." The rain kept pouring. Thunder rolled somewhere far away. But all I could hear, all I could feel was her hand in mine. Warm, real, alive. I nodded slowly. "Okay, I'm not going anywhere." She exhaled, a sound like relief and heartbreak mixing together. "Come inside," she said softly, "please." And for the first time in weeks, maybe months, we walked back towards something together. That was the moment everything changed. Not fixed, not healed, just changed. Because sometimes the biggest turning point in a love story is not a kiss, not a fight, not a confession. It's a moment when one person says, "Don't go," and the other person finally listens. Back inside the apartment, everything felt different, warmer, quieter, not peaceful but honest. She took off her damp sweater, hands shaking a little. I kicked off my wet shoes. Water dripped from my hair onto the floor. Neither of us cared. We just stood there, staring, breathing, trying to figure out how to start talking again. Emily broke the silence first. "You scared me," she whispered. "I scared myself," I admitted. She nodded slowly like she knew exactly what that meant. We moved to the living room. Didn't sit on opposite ends like usual. Didn't pretend to watch TV. Just sat on the floor, backs against the couch, knees touching. That's when she said something I'll never forget. "I didn't fall in love with you because you were perfect," she whispered. "I fell in love with you because you tried." That hit me harder than any argument ever could. I rubbed my face. "I haven't been trying lately," she nodded. You've been somewhere else emotionally, and I didn't know how to reach you." My voice cracked a little. "I didn't want to dump all my problems on you." She leaned closer. "Babe, that's what love is. You carry some of mine, I carry some of yours." I swallowed hard. "I thought you'd think I was weak." Her eyebrows pulled together. "Ethan, wanting comfort isn't weak. Leaving without explaining, that's what hurts." Silence fell between us, heavy but soft around the edges. I finally spoke. "I've been overwhelmed, work, money, life. I keep feeling like I'm drowning, and I didn't want you to see that." She placed her hand on top of mine again. That damn hand, the one that dragged me back from walking away. "You don't have to be strong alone," she whispered. Her voice broke. Mine did too. "I miss you," she said. "Even when you're right next to me, I miss the version of you who talked to me." I felt tears gather in my eyes, something I rarely, almost never let happen. "I miss you too," I whispered. And then she said something that shattered me completely. "If you walked away tonight, if you really drove off, I think something inside me would have broken forever." My throat tightened. "I'm sorry, Em." She wiped her cheeks. "I kept thinking maybe you stopped loving me." Hearing that hurt more than any insult could. I grabbed her face gently, made her look at me. "I never stopped loving you. Not for a second." Her lips trembled. "Then why were you leaving?" And this time, I told her the truth. "I thought you deserved someone better, someone who wasn't falling apart inside." She shook her head fiercely. "I don't want better. I want you, flawed, scared, sad, angry, all of it. I want the man I fell in love with even on his worst days." I exhaled, shaking. "Then teach me how to stay when my mind tells me to run." She smiled through tears. "We learned together. We talked for hours. Real conversations, the kind that break you and heal you at the same time. She told me she felt lonely even when we cuddled. I told her I felt like a burden. She told me she hated how quiet I'd become. I told her I hated how much I pretended things didn't bother me. We didn't fix everything, but for the first time in months, we were honest. And honesty is a damn good place to start. At around 3 a.m., the storm finally stopped. She crawled into my lap, laid her head on my chest, hands tangled in my shirt like she was scared I'd disappear again. "You're not going anywhere, right?" she asked sleepily. I kissed the top of her head. "Not unless you push me out the door yourself." She laughed softly. That laugh, the one I fell in love with on day one. She pulled my hand to her chest and whispered, "Thank you for staying." I rested my chin on her hair. "Thank you for grabbing my hand." Because the truth is, she saved us. Not with a speech, not with an apology, not with a grand gesture, but with 5 simple words. "Don't go, please don't go." And sometimes that's all love needs, one moment of courage, one hand reaching for another, one choice not to walk away. Weeks passed. We communicated more, held each other more, said what hurt instead of bottling it up. We weren't perfect, still aren't, but we're trying together. And every time things get tough, every time silence starts creeping in, every time fear tries to pull me backward, I remember that rainy night. Her voice, her trembling hand, her breaking heart calling after me. "Ethan, wait. Don't go," and I turned back every damn time, because walking away is easy. Staying is love.